All right.
Hello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of A Conversation with Kely. We are here once again to talk about what continues to be, I think, a really just off the rails season of Survivor and Survivor 44.
Oh
Very
yeah.
interesting episode to talk about. I think there's a lot that happens in this episode, but also there's not a lot that happens in this episode without getting into too much, of course. But before we do get started, I am here with my lovely and beautiful co-host, Aly. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I had a pretty chill day. Like I went for a walk with Magoo, other than that. And then I just hung out. And then I went to Emily's, which is just like right by me, like only a couple blocks away. We watched the movie Missing and had some food. Other than that, just pretty chill.
And not only that, you also you just said you watch Missing. I also watch Missing if you haven't. It's a movie I feel like that has gone
Okay.
pretty under the radar since it came out, but it's a great
I
film.
will I will be doing my letterbox review soon.
Yes, look forward to that. I did mine as well if you guys want to check that out. But we're not here to talk about letterbox reviews. We're going to get back on track here and talk about this episode of Survivor 44. Before we get into it, Aly, what did you think of this episode overall?
Um, I mean, it wasn't like my favorite episode of the season so far, but I didn't dislike it or anything. But I mean, the one time Tika is just so iconic, I will say.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it from the beginning, and I'll say it again. Tika just has that like main character energy that like you want to see in a Survivor season. Like you look at that, you always look for those characters like and really just kind of stick out from everybody else, and that's Tika for me. This I really don't know how, because obviously they don't edit these like they edit them ahead of time. It's not like they know like how the fans are going to react, but it feels like this episode
Yeah.
was designed like specifically for like people who've been fans of Tika, because they are very much like the focus of this episode. That being said,
Uh-oh, you froze. Oh no! Oh gosh. Well, until he comes back, his internet probably just went out or something. But until then, how's everyone doing? Very excited to talk about this episode more. Obviously, I won't continue until Kevin's back because this is not a conversation with Aly; it's a conversation with Kely. um, but we love you guys and we appreciate all of you watching. And we're just always so like grateful for everyone who tunes in and everything, because this has just always been so much fun doing this podcast. He'll be back soon. Oh yeah, he just said gotta restart my laptop. I've had that happen before too, like during podcasts, like my connection has gone out and stuff too, so it's like it definitely happens, so it's StreamYard. But it is what it is. It happens, but it's okay. He will be back very shortly, and then we will get on with the episode. Woo! And we will be covering the last 2 weeks of BB10 very soon. We just caught up on the episodes from last week today. I mean, we watched part of, or most or all. Well, I watched part of it, and then like after work, and then he watched it for the Thursday episode, just because it was like intense and everything, and important to watch too. But we caught up on all those episodes and did all the notes for last week, and we will be doing it tomorrow. Just because it's 6 episodes, so it's going to take a while to cover. So just tonight we're going to do Survivor, and yeah. And then obviously eventually when we're going to do the rest of like reality shows too, like The Traitors, The Circle, and finish the mole and things like that. Those are coming. We just get really busy because we watch so many things, movies, shows. We both work a lot and stuff, so we're just like really busy and gets. So we're like, we will do them soon. Oh yeah, you're back. Hello.
We're gonna try. We're gonna swap it out laptop. Yeah. Anyway, like I was saying, are
Oh no.
like the stars of the episode, without question. What happened? What happened?
Okay. I think you're okay now. You were in your beep boop era. He will be back again very shortly. Love the technical difficulties. But I appreciate all of you guys watching. So sorry that we didn't get to continue talking about the episode yet. It's just because his connection issues and laptop issues, but everything will be okay. Just and whenever like my internet or my connection just went out like earlier today, I believe, but it was only for like a few minutes because once I restarted my laptop, it was fine. But yeah, it happens. Oh, hello.
Okay, am I back?
Yeah, you're not in your
God
beep.
damn it, that was so
you're-
annoying.
You
I
are
need
no,
a
you are no
laptop.
longer in
I'll
your
say
beep
that
boop
right
era.
now. Okay, that's good. I'm glad that we have moved past that. With that said, yeah, so Tika, undeniably, I think the main characters of this episode. That being said, I had a lot of issues with this episode. I honestly found this to be a very disjointed, very just weirdly paced episode. And given the circumstances, like, it's understandable why they decided to structure the episode in the way that they did. I just felt like with what was going on, it just didn't feel that well paced to me. It felt like there were things that we should have seen that we didn't get to see. But anyway, we will get into it. We start off here obviously with Tika, and actually you are going to start reading the notes for Tika, who, like I said, very much their episode. So let's
Oh
talk
yeah.
a bit about what goes on with Tika after this tribal.
All right. After tribal, Jam Jam and Carolyn talk about the vote, and he says if she told him she was voting that way, he would have done it. And she tells him she didn't know where he was anymore, and she felt like he and Sarah would strategize together and tell her the plan, and truly never felt comfortable with her and wanting her out from the get go. With her here wanting her out from the get go.
Yeah. And I wanted to comment this real quick. I don't think the show communicated this well to us. I think they should have done a better job of like showing that like Carol's not getting along well with Sarah. She wants Sarah out because that's not really something that the edit depicted. It very much seemed like it was like we were going to go for Josh and then she went for Sarah because Sarah was like the name that everyone else was pushing. But it seems like Carolyn wanted her out from the beginning, which I don't know if you felt differently, but to me, like I was like, since when? Like this kind of came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah. I mean, Carolyn and Jam Jam definitely are not the duo we expected. They're very dysfunctional.
Mm-hmm. No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how Carolyn supposedly has wanted Sarah out from the beginning, but the show didn't really depict that.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other two.
No. I was talking about when she's talking to Jam Jam about how she wanted Sarah out from the beginning. And I don't really feel like they've.
I don't really think she wanted her out. She was probably just like, she probably just didn't know if like Sarah would turn on her or not.
I mean, this conversation suggests the opposite, but I don't know.
Like, because it seemed like those three were like a trio, but
No, it was. I would say it was the two of them and Carson. That was like the trio.
well, they were working with both, but
yeah, I don't know. I just don't think they depicted that well.
Like, she probably just didn't fully trust Sarah.
Yeah, I was just very confused by that because like they didn't really show any like distrust between them. They didn't really show like Carolyn having this like vendetta for like Sarah. So like if that was something that was a story in the season, it did not communicate well in the edit. So anyway, I'm just gonna shut up. Go ahead.
Jam Jam says this didn't go as he thought, and it would at all, and he is happy he survived, but not that he didn't know where it was going.
Mm-hmm.
Carolyn tells him there were two people telling her what to do, and she didn't want to be seen as, in her eyes, the third turn. Jam Jam sees Carolyn now as the most dangerous player because of her now leaving him behind.
Which I would agree. I think out of these three, Carolyn is the most dangerous. Like, she's such an unpredictable player at this point, and that's why we love watching her. But I think at least what we're getting from her in this episode, she's going to be very unpredictable from this point forward. Like, I think that's going to be her whole thing. It's like she has all this information. She's just like waiting to strike, and we're gonna see her. We're gonna see her strike soon.
Oh, she definitely will. Josh says his tribal was a whirlwind, and he's glad that he used his idol and trusted Carolyn, while Jam Jam tried to vote him out.
Yeah, which again was kind of shocking to me that was the case.
Jam Jam says he would have told him, and he would have been happy with him, and it would have been the three of them working together. She says she can tell. Who is this about?
That Jam Jam is mad.
Oh, sorry. The notes are so confusing.
Wait, why are they confusing?
Who's he talking about, Josh or Carolyn?
No. Jam Jam is saying that Carolyn should have told him what she was going to do, and that
they doesn't say her name there, so that's why it was confusing.
Oh, yeah.
That's okay. Jam Jam says she should have told him, and he would have been happy with him, and it would have been the three of them working together. She says she can tell that he's mad, but she's got to do what's best for her game, which would probably be Josh, even though his heart is telling her to go with Jam Jam.
Which I love the way that she explained this. I thought it was really funny to watch because, like, you know, I saw this in another podcast. Someone talked about how, like, someone referred to Carolyn as, like, the Christopher Walken of Survivor. And, like, I can very much get that vibe because it's, like, just the way Carolyn says things. It's just iconic. Like, it's just so entertaining to watch. I don't even know how to explain it. Just the way that she says things. I could watch a whole episode of it.
Oh, yeah. Christopher Walken's such a random comparison, but I can kind of see it.
Not really. He's because they were mainly like talking about in the podcast that I watched, like similar to how everything Christopher Walken says, he has like a very different way of saying it that makes it like entertaining. Carolyn kind of has that same same vibe. So it's just something I watched in another podcast. But I would agree with what they said there. But anyway, let's move on to Ratu, which basically we start off and immediately, I mean, Ratu is not nearly as entertaining. Ratu is a lot more, I would say, of a somber nature. This tribe, this episode at least, we see Matthew starts off telling Kane that he's in a lot of pain from when he dislocated his shoulder. And the second this happened, I was like, oh God, we are losing Matthew in this episode. And I am very much not ready for it. Kane then tells him that he's an absolute gladiator for sticking it out, impresses him so much every day. Matthew says this is forcing him to be adaptable, but at the same time, it dulls his spirit to be unable to move. So he talks to Carson about it and says that last night was the worst he's had, and it's emotional because he's literally been training to be there for years, and so it's about so much more than just the plan. He gives him a hug, and Matthew said that Carson's the guy that he feels he can emotionally open up to the most, and I really felt for Matthew in this moment because, like, I mean, he's been playing the game so hard since the beginning, but like he
I
took
know.
and he
Like,
took that fall like so early on, and you thought he would be able to move past it, but unfortunately, I mean, I think especially the fact that like, you put yourself in the scenario of like, you're in the wilderness, you kind of have to fend for yourself, you're still participating in physical challenges. Obviously his, shoulder injury is just deteriorating, and it's really, really hard to watch in this episode, seeing him have to kind of come to the realization that he might have to leave the game entirely.
oh yeah, like I feel so bad for him because
Yeah.
like he really just like took a risk in that episode too.
Yeah.
Like yeah, he obviously shouldn't have climbed the rock, but I mean, he was just taking a risk and everything, and
Yeah.
but it just ended up not being a bad idea.
Yeah, and like I generally didn't think that like this was gonna happen. Like I really thought he was gonna be able to like move past it, especially because like he's gotten so much airtime on that tribe. So
Yeah,
I feel like that's what makes this that much more devastating.
because he was like in the best spot there.
Yeah, I would say so. I would definitely say so. Aside from Matthew, the only other bit we really get with Ratu here is this moment with Carson, which again is giving me like he's at least making it to the end vibes, like just from this
Oh
scene.
yeah.
He says that he's in the exact position he wanted to be in, only being Rotu for 4 days, and he has developed some very close relationships. We see him and Kane talking, and they talk about how young, smart people don't last alone. So it's good they can finally link up and nerd out. So they're bonding over Pokemon, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. It's basically what you predicted, that like these two were going to link up immediately. And
It was also funny that I thought I got them confused by mistake.
Yeah, that was funny. So they're hoping to stick together. Carson still sees himself as the new person, but Kane kind of feels that once the dust is settled, that he's not going to be a name in mind. He's positioned himself well enough to where people don't want to go for Carson at this point.
Yeah.
So he feels they don't see him as strategic mastermind. He's putting himself in a position where he's closer to the Ratu member, then they are safe with each other. And once someone knows what he's doing, they will be gone. Yeah, I think he's doing a really good job at this point. I'm honestly very impressed by what I'm seeing from what I'm seeing from him so far. I think Carson, I said it before, I think honestly he really does benefit from this swap, and I think he's already been able to kind of like weasel his way in with this tribe and like really get closer with Matthew at first. Now he's getting closer with Kane. Carson's making it far. I don't think there really is any scenario in which he doesn't at least get like, I don't know, like fourth, fifth, or sixth. Like I think he's making it far.
Oh, I think so too. Like, and I'm like completely here for this alliance of like him and Kane.
Oh yeah,
Carson and Kane, just because they are very similar and they just have like those personalities and that like work well together. So I think they'll both do really well.
Oh yeah,
especially Carson. But I feel like Kane will do okay too. But we'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, all right. Heading over to Sokka. Danny is doing some meditation with his tribe, and he talks about practicing Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Oh, and before we go to Sokka real quick, I did want to say one other thing about Carson. I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, Carson's not doing anything. I don't understand why people are rooting for him. For me, it's just seeing the promise that he has. I just think it's really impressive the way he's been able to get people on his side that like didn't even know him, and now they're considering him like one of their number one, like one of their closest allies in the game. And I feel like Carson's going to be one of those players where like I could see him going down a path where like he doesn't do much pre-merge, but like kind of comes alive at merge, like kind of like an Omar in 42, where like he really starts to control a lot. I feel like that's where Carson's going. Like he's going to have a lot of control and a lot of power in the merge, and we're only seeing the beginning of it.
Oh, hey Devin.
Oh, hey Devin.
He says, "Hey guys, message me if you."
Oh yeah, of course. We will definitely stay in touch with that.
Definitely, like you're always welcome to be a guest on here.
Absolutely, we love your input, especially when you don't like the season. That's always fun to watch too.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun. But yeah, all right, heading over to Sokka. Danny's doing some meditation with his tribe, and he talks about practicing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and that helps him, and it helps him see more clearly. And it's all about the love and energy. And he talks about missing his baby girl and his wife, which was just a very sweet little segment.
Oh yeah.
Or confessional. Jamie feels she was meant to be here, and that if it was up to her, this is the tribe she wants to stay loyal to, not only because they're strong, but because they have such good vibes and thinks they have the right mindset to work together.
Yeah. What do you think about Jamie's positioning in the game right now?
I mean, I feel like she could do well, but she also could also just be like maybe the merge boot, because like I don't know. I feel like if it's not one of Franny or Matt, it's gonna be her.
I will say I have enjoyed
Because obviously
watching
Franny and
Jamie.
Matt have to be careful too.
Yeah. Also, yes, very much. We are very excited to hear your takes whenever that is. But
Oh yeah.
in regards to Jamie, I don't see her doing very well at all. Especially when you look at the way that she has been depicted this season, like her edit, not really been a positive one. She started off playing her shot in the dark. Then she had sort of a duo-ish with Matthew, but he was kind of playing her, so that wasn't really legit. It seemed like her and Lauren were close, but we didn't really get to see a lot of that. And now her going on to this tribe, I just feel she's like deeply naive. Like, I don't see these people wanting to really work with her, and I feel like she is going to be loyal to them, but I don't think they're going to be loyal to her, especially like a Danny. Like, the second that Danny and Josh reunite, they're going to link back up together, and I don't see.
I feel like the only person that might work with her at merge is maybe Lauren, because they were the only like after Maddie left, they were the only girls number 2.
That's my thing. I just don't see Jamie being in a very good spot come the merge. And I do agree with Devin here. I could see her being mid-merge, but honestly, I could see her going even earlier than that. I don't know if she'll be the merge boot, but I think she'll be one of the first. I
feel like she's either going to be merge boot or maybe like the nexter.
Yeah,
like
I just don't see it going that well for her right now.
Also, he thinks that Brandon or Josh will be merge boot.
We'll talk a little bit more about that after the end here, because I kind of have a theory on that, but we'll see.
Obviously, and I obviously think for like Sokka, Danny's definitely in the best position.
Oh yeah,
and also he's very entertaining.
Yeah, he is very fun to watch.
Oh yeah. All right. She talks with Matt and brings up how valuable she could be for all of them. He tells her she is doing exactly what she needs to be doing right now. She says they are all running a marathon and Matt is learning to crawl.
Yeah, which I mean, I would agree. I feel like Matt, not really here for the strategy. He's a nice guy. He's fun to watch, but not really here for this. Don't really get a lot of strategical vibes from Matt.
She then starts to bring up to Franny that it's very hard to read Matt's game, and he doesn't seem the most strategically sound. And Franny says he is very affable, and that's his biggest strength. Like,
I was so worried for Jamie here.
She told Franny, who's gonna go run back to Matt.
Yeah, I thought this was really gonna be really bad for Franny, but for Jamie. But I will say, doesn't seem like that's gonna be the case based on what happens next.
I know. She doesn't think Jamie has caught on to the fact of her and Matt's connection, and that's a good thing, because she doesn't want to be in a position where she can make a move against him, but others don't want to.
Right.
I actually really like Franny, because I remember both of us we were very kind of indifferent with her preseason, because we thought she would be an early boot. But I actually kind of like her.
The way I see this whole Matt and Franny dynamic going right now, I feel like Matt is going to stick close to her, whereas Franny is someone who is, and we've seen this throughout the season, at least to me, she's way more adaptable than Matt. She's willing to scoop up potential allies that aren't just him. And I feel like the two of them are going to get very far. I feel like out of the two, she's the one making it far. I think Matt is the one to be concerned about. I do think Franny has a lot more potential. And especially the fact that, she was completely fine with Jamie doing what she did, just kind of tells me okay, yes, she wants to date Matt, obviously, after the game, but from a game sense, she doesn't really care if they're clocked or not.
Yeah, I feel like, because obviously she likes him, but I think she could also turn on him when she needs to.
That's exactly how I see it, which
Like
is
she,
going to be
like
interesting if that happens.
outside the house, outside the game, she'll definitely like probably go on dates with him and stuff. But like in the game, she's like, no, I don't need him long term.
Yeah.
Matt sees Franny as his blind spot at the moment, and he thinks there's a real spark between them. She brings up that she does have a crush on him, and they will be going out for Ethiopian food together after this game, and she would be down to date him in real life, which I think they're really cute, just very wholesome.
I did too, but I was also like, can we like get anything else, like any more insight into this tribe? Because I feel like we've gotten way too much of like Matt and Franny, when I feel like the way this is going to end is Franny's just going to cut Matt. Like that's how he's going
like,
at this point.
Like it's very pure. It's just like we want to see more game, not just like the like showmancy thing.
I just feel like beyond Danny and Matt and Franny, I don't know what else is going on in this tribe, and that's not good heading into the merge.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's everything we get with Sokka. We do get some stuff with Tika here. I don't know why we wrote the notes in this way, because usually I include all the Tika stuff together. But regardless, we see Jam Jam tells Josh that he knows he's not mad at him. He says if he just wants to rant on him, they can have a fun day. Josh tells him that he simply doesn't trust him, but it's a game and he's here. And I love the way he did this. He's like, I'm not mad. I just don't trust you. Like he doesn't try to hide it at all. He makes no mistake that he does not have any trust towards Jam Jam right now. So Jam Jam wants to make amends and understands why he's mad, but he did the same thing for him and feels he needs to move on and not have this bitch face, which I agree with Jam Jam. I did feel like this could be a real issue for Josh. He's so like focused on like Jam Jam that if like Carolyn especially takes a strike, he's not even going to see it coming. But basically Josh brings up that he feels he was in a position of power and now he isn't, and he's walking around like someone killed his dog, and now he's vulnerable without his immunity idols. So he made up a lie, and this was crazy to me. Also, I love the fact that these two are just like completely against each other. Like Josh is mad at Jam Jam because Jam Jam felt like he was like the king of the tribe and now he's not, and then Jam Jam's mad at Josh because he won't get over it. I really like this dynamic a lot, and like I said, I think adding Josh into Tika was the best possible decision entertainment wise, because these three are just so much fun to watch. And it's literally, like I said, I could have taken a whole episode of just Tika. But basically he makes up this lie that he's found another idol at Sokka in the birdcage. And so he showed Jam Jam the piece of paper he found from the journey, and then weaved together a fake idol with some beads. And Jam Jam isn't fully buying it, but knows that if he's serious, that he is going to be the next one out. We see they then have this really nice conversation about their coming out stories, which actually does seem to bring them closer together. I thought this was a really nice moment, and like this is what we want to see more of. And this is why I complain about the sob stories, because I want to see more stuff like this. I want to see more like bonding between characters of like their past and things like that. Like I feel like this is the way to do it, because not only are we getting their backstory, but we're also getting to see them like kind of bond over it. And I think those are moments that I just don't think we get enough of.
I agree. Like I like those like. I mean, I like hearing everyone's stories, though, but I mean, I definitely get that.
So Josh now seems a bit more conflicted with where he really wants to go on this tribe, but needs Jam Jam to feel a lot more comfortable. He talks to him that now he has his trust, and they should just get Carolyn out, which Jam Jam is willing to do, but hopes that they can just pull off a win and not have to worry about any of this. Which, that being said, let's get into the immunity challenge here and all that goes down there.
All right. For this challenge, they will be tied together and they're going to race through a series of obstacles to a bucket. They will fill it with water and make their way over to a hinged platform, transporting the water until they have enough to lower a gate. Once they reach the finish, 2 tribe members will work together to maneuver balls through a table maze. They need to get 3 balls to win immunity. In addition, they are playing for power in this game in the form of control. The winning tribe will decide which 3 players to go on the journey. Matthew sets out yet again for Ratu, as well as Lauren. Jamie and Franny set out for Sokka. And then, after a very tight race, Ratu wins immunity, followed by Sokka, sending Tika to Tribal Council. And then Brandon
says, I was like, no, not Tika. This is the tribe that's like the most entertaining.
And it's only 3-person tribal, too.
I know.
Which I will say it would be very interesting.
It would be, but like literally, I want any other tribe to go to tribal. I don't want to lose any of these three.
I know, me neither. And then Brandon says he'll go on the journey for Ratu. They pick Danny to go on the journey for Sokka and Carolyn to go on the journey for Tika.
Yeah, so very interesting.
Which I will say I like these three because I mean they're all very entertaining.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the journey and whatnot. But with that said, we do have a little bit more with Tika going on here. We see Jam Jam says with just three of them at tribal, it makes it very hard to have any power, but knows that they all have to vote somewhere. So Josh talks about the fact that Jam Jam believes he has this idol. So he's naming on it because that lie is literally the only thing he has going forward, which is true. That's like the only leg he has to stand on at this point. So basically, he then brings up to him that he would like to preserve it. And so Jam Jam assures him that that this will not be the case because Carolyn is playing both of them and she isn't nearly as unaware as she looks. And she made him use his idol when she needed him to, and that wasn't a mistake. She was trying to save her own ass. And I will say, the way that Jam Jam handles himself here, I'm honestly very conflicted whether or not this is like him and Carolyn's like duo is going to be one that like sticks together in the game, or if he reveals so much about her in this particular interaction with Josh that they're gonna like go against each other. Like I generally can't tell at this point because they're both like they're so messy like in terms of play.
And like Jam Jam's such a fluid player, so he can go either way.
Yeah, he really could. So Josh sees her as this ticking time bomb, and he says when she comes back from the journey, they should come. And I thought this made a lot of sense. I thought this was smart. He says that they should compare notes as to what she tells each of them she has, and that will determine what kind of game that she really is playing. So he's worried that she's going to come back with something from the journey, which, you know, makes sense. Almost every time I don't think there has been a journey where they haven't come back with either some kind of, you know, advantage or if they had to lose their vote or something like that. So it makes sense that they're thinking she's probably going to come back with something, which we'll talk about. So he's hoping that him throwing her under the bus is going to pay off. And we'll talk a little bit more about Tika in a little bit. But first, we got to cut to something a little bit more on the somber side here, which this is really where we get to something that I had a problem with in this episode. We do get this moment with Matthew that Aly's going to talk about.
All right. The doctor and Jeff talk to Matthew about his shoulder and how bad the pain has gotten. Matthew says he's very worried because he's only eating like a couple of calories a day and he doesn't know how much his body can withstand it. The doctor says he is in so much pain because when he pops his shoulder out, the soft tissue that holds it in place can get torn, and if it's a small hair, it is short-lived, but 9 days on and still feeling a lot of pain means it's clearly a lot more serious. Jeff commends him for how long he has stuck it out, even continuing to participate in challenges. Matthew says it is painful, but he's never been one to give up on something that he wants so badly, and he really wants to be out here, and it's a dream in life, but he woke up in so much pain, and there's a lot weighing on his mind, and he's got to figure out what to do.
Yeah, I had an issue with how this was shown, and this is really what I was getting into here. I understand, obviously, they needed to show this, that Matthew had, like, a lot of pain and things like that, that he needed to make this decision. The problem is, like, this is literally all we get in regards to this situation. We don't get to see Matthew making the decision. We don't get to see him say goodbye to his tribe, nothing like that. So to me, the way they edited it just felt a little bit disrespectful to him. It kind of felt more like they were treating this like an afterthought. Like it wasn't, because I look at how, conversely, how they put into like Bruce, for example, him saying goodbye like to his tribe and how emotional that was. 42 with Jackson, him saying goodbye to his tribe, like how we don't get that moment with Matthew here. And that was really odd, especially considering that Matthew has been such a central figure throughout all 5 of these episodes on his tribe. He's been doing so much. He's really been pulling the strings. it just felt like they cared more about Tika than they did about Matthew, when I feel like the care should have been equal. Like, I feel like we should have had just as much of Matthew as we did Tika in this episode, but it felt they chose.
I definitely hope they at least show stuff on like a secret scene, but like it really should have been shown more with him on the episode, just because like, obviously like this is very important because like he was in pain, he needs to go home and get better and stuff.
Well, and it's not even just that. It's that like say Matthew was only in one episode. Okay, I understand. He's in one episode. You only can show so much of him. You have so little to work with. That'd be fine. But like I said, he's been, I think, easily one of the biggest characters, if not the biggest character on his tribe. So the fact that like we didn't get that moment with him, it just felt a little bit. It just felt weird to me. Like, it just felt like something was missing. Like, why didn't we see that moment of him?
Yeah, because like he could have went really far.
Yeah, he really could have. And I just feel like with how much they showed of him in the edits, he deserved a much better send off than what he got here. And I just feel like they didn't really. Again, it just didn't feel respectful to his situation. The fact that they just kind of cut it off here, it feels like, okay, there probably should be more here with how they did it. They also do it like very early into the episode, and I just felt like they could have done a much better job of just showing this whole thing. Like, they really could have shown him like struggling and him having to talk to his tribe mates and talk about what was going on and kind of see how his tribe mates react.
Because his tribe mates would have probably like wanted to say bye, or we wanted to see that, and like see him just like hugging them all because they all loved him.
Yeah, it just felt very odd to me, and it's really the main issue I have with this episode. Like, I love seeing Tika, but when it's at the cost of something a lot more serious and us getting to see more of that thing that's a lot more serious, it just feels a little bit icky to me. If I'm being honest. So yeah, I wasn't too big on that.
Me neither.
But do wish Matthew the best and hope he was able to recover from that.
Yeah, like hopefully he got some food in him and then just like some well-needed rest because he needs it.
Yeah, and I mean the fact that he stuck it out like through all those challenges, even with his shoulder being in pain, like honestly, hats off to him, because I feel like most people wouldn't have been able to do that, and I think it's really impressive that he was able to fight through the pain like that.
Yeah, he's just very strong.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, very, very awkward send off for Matthew overall. Like, again, I just felt like there was going to be more there, and there just wasn't.
I know, it was just really sad.
Yeah, just very kind of oddly paced, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that said, we are going to go back. We're going to go to the journey here, which this was very interesting, different from really anything we've gotten when it comes to these journeys. And I like this a lot, actually. So we see Brandon's very happy to go on this journey because he knew something would come from it, but he doesn't know what. So he will say to his trimates, because of the other times, people have always gotten advantages. He doesn't really know how he's going to maneuver this. So they all meet up, and Brandon reads that they're now at the sanctuary and won't be playing any game. They're just going to be sharing a light snack together. There's no catch to this. They're literally just eating, like, I think it was like burgers and fries, and that's literally all they're doing. And I love this. I absolutely love this idea, because there's been so many instances now where people have been getting these like crazy powers and they've lied about it. And it's like, some of them it's hurt their games, some of them it hasn't. I love the idea that you can go on this journey expecting to get something, and it literally is just you're eating a snack together. And then they
get to just bond and like give each other info.
Yes, but then you also then have to go back to your tribe, and when they're questioning it, you have to say, oh, yeah, it literally was just we ate a snack together, because who in their right mind would believe that, especially when through? It's like, it's kind of, for lack of a better term, rotted that they would do that, because it's like, considering that the other times it's been like these crazy powers. But I just thought it was a really funny idea, and I thought it actually executed very well here.
I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, because it was like, okay, where's the catch? And there's nothing. So We see they're all bonding and sharing each information that could potentially help them emerge. Danny feels that the 3 transfers having the idol is going to be very dangerous unless the 3 of them team up. I don't know why he thought this was a problem because, like, literally it expires after merge. So, like, they only have a couple more rounds to go. I don't know why this is, like, an issue for him. But, you know, I guess he's worried that, like, the 3 of them are going to work together. But, like, Carson and Josh working with Jane. No, that's not happening. Like, I don't see that. They're too fluid of players. I don't see that happening.
They are.
So he tells Brandon that if they get to the merge, he will make sure his allies are in both of their corner. And it seems to be going well that the 3 of them are bonding, but we very quickly realize that, like, these 2 are, like, very much, like, just kind of broing it out. And Carolyn notices this immediately. She's very sussed out of this conversation. It becomes much more centered around the 2 guys as they talk about how intimidated people are that they're going to be by their physicality and bonding over their tattoos. And Danny hopes that the 2 of them can link up with Josh. And this was just so funny to watch. I felt like this to me felt like, you know, the way people react when they see, like, for example, in this most recent BB Can season, when we see, like, Zach and Ty interact, this is exactly like the audience's reaction. Like, the way Carolyn is reacting here is how everybody has reacted to stuff like that. And I
will say though, like, people thought they were kind of rude that they were but I didn't think so. They were literally just bonding because they're like, they weren't like, I mean, I wish they included her more, but I mean, in the conversations, but they were just bonding. They weren't being mean.
I wouldn't say they were rude. I would just say they were, like, deeply naive here, not being very smart, knowing that Carolyn's literally right there and can probably recognize that, like, the 2 of them are going to work together. Because at least from what we got here, these 2 are probably working together at merge. Like, I definitely see that happening. They share a lot of info. And I also feel like Brandon and Danny are probably going to potentially win a lot of immunities as well.
Also, so this was kind of good for Brandon because he hasn't really had much of an edit since the first episode.
It was good for Brandon, but it's also bad for Brandon because you have someone like Carolyn who, like, is, like, very hyper aware of this stuff. And this is why, like, to me, I think Carolyn's going to do amazing at merge because she's going to recognize the way that she could sense just from this little interaction that, like, these 2 are very much, like, probably working together and they're going to link up and there's going to, you know, they're going to be a threat at merge. Really just tells me that, like, Carolyn has, like, super good intuition. And I think I think she's going to have, like, really, like, strong reads, and I think it's going to take her very far. So
I think so too. It's, like, hard to say. It's hard to say, like, what placement she's going to get, but I definitely see her making it far.
No, with how much focus she's had, I think either she is potentially the winner of this game, or I could you know what else I could see, and I hate to say this, but I could also see this being like Shan in 41, where we're so focused on her, we think that she's the main character, we think that she's winning, and then she gets, like, 6. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that is not the case. I hope Carolyn is at the finale and we can say this is, like, an amazing edit for her. But with the way Survivor has depicted certain people lately, especially giving them these, like, crazy edits and us thinking it's all about them, I could see that happening to her potentially. But we'll see. We will see. With that said, though, we finally, after they're broing out, they do ask Carolyn who she'd like to take out, and she says that she won't be telling them. She literally tells them, like, she's not going to tell them because what she needs are allies, because she needs people that she can trust. Brandon thinks she should be someone to keep around because she hasn't proven herself to do that well in challenges, which this part I thought was a little rude. Like, the fact that he was, like, straight up with her about that. And she loves that she's being underestimated and thinks that people should be watching out for her at the merge because she will be making it there. And I am so fucking ready to just see her dominate at merge because I feel like
me too.
They would not include that particular moment if Carolyn doesn't have, like, some amazing moment at merge. Like, I see her making some crazy move that people just don't expect her to do. And I think it's going to put her in an amazing position. So I think Carolyn's going to kill it at merge.
Yeah, it'd be kind of iconic. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I really like this journey a lot. I thought it was very fun to watch. Not at all what you'd expect, but very interesting heading into the merge.
It was. Carolyn returns from the journey, and she says this journey has big time affected the way she's going to vote today. She doesn't want anything to do with Danny and the muscle bro thing, and says Josh is a part of that. And she
Oh,
almost
yeah,
jumped.
which we forgot to mention this part. Danny makes it no secret through this journey that, like, him and Josh are, like, very closely working together, which is really a terrible move. Like, this Danny's been good up to this point. This was bad. Like,
It kind of was.
he basically, like, says, without saying it, like, yeah, Josh and I are number ones, and he's someone that you're gonna, he's someone that I'm always gonna have in my corner. So,
Yeah.
not great, not great.
No, what is he doing?
Yeah, this was bad.
She almost jumped off the boat into Jam Jam's arms. Josh asks Carolyn if she walked up a mountain or anything. She lies and says it just said today, no advantages, no risking her vote, and then it was just like a big spread of food. She mouths a bunch of stuff, and then she mouths.
Oh, to Jam Jam.
She mouths a bunch of stuff to Jam Jam, to herself.
Yeah, yeah. She just says it to herself.
Oh yeah.
She's so, like, taken aback by everything. She's like, you know what? I'm just gonna talk to myself.
Jam Jam recognizes that when Carolyn got back to camp, she just mouths everything like everything's cool and okay. Yep. He thinks this is the Carolyn he knows.
Yeah, which this was a good moment for Jam Jam and Carolyn, because she very much seemed like she trusts him more than Josh here, which I think was good. Yeah. Like, I think this journey definitely helped their relationship.
Oh, definitely. Jam recognizes that when Carolyn got back to camp, she just
you just read that.
Oh, sorry. She tells them about how obsessed Danny and Brandon were with each other and how they both were such big threats and the broing out between them, and says they spoke highly of Josh as well and that they want to team up with him at Merge. He is worried this will put another target on his back and brings up that he will be playing his other idol tonight, and he shows them the fake one.
Which was so funny to me because, like, a minute ago, Josh is like, no, I'm not playing this. And then he's like, no, I'm playing this tonight.
Oh, that was so funny.
Yeah, like, this was like, he went from saying, like, no, I'm going to preserve this as long as I can, to no, I'm absolutely playing this tonight. I don't care what you say. Like, forget everything else I just told you, Jam Jam. I'm playing this tonight.
That would be amazing. Jam Jam recognizes the beads are from the tree mail. Carolyn also sees through this, as this is the exact same note that he showed her at the last tribal. Both of them see him as extremely sketchy for doing this, but also laugh it off with how badly put together it was. Jam Jam still seems unsure who he is really working with.
Yeah, this was bad for Josh. Like, I thought that I really thought this was gonna, like, work out for him, and he'd be able to concoct this lie that he has this fake idol, but, like, almost immediately they recognize it, like, no, this is not legit. And I think especially what didn't help is that Carolyn has tried to do the same thing, so she can recognize, like, when something is fake. And unfortunately it did not quite work out for Josh in the way it did for Carolyn. This was bad.
Oh, I know. He talks with Josh and says that she may have some kind of advantage. Josh still wants her out because now she thinks he's in an alliance with the bros, trying to take all the girls out, but he needs to get her on his side. And he's a bit frightened and scared, but adversity is his middle name. Mm-hmm. He talks about being born with EGOS bear syndrome. He had weak kidneys. They didn't think he was going to make it past age 5, but he did. He had a kidney transplant at age 9. Because of that, he's been on immunosuppressive medications all his life. And when he was 25, he got diagnosed with cancer of the stomach. So he had to have a total stomach removal his first year of medical school, and still graduated at the top of his class. He takes negative situations and turns them into positive outcomes. This was like a really heartfelt moment with him.
It was. It just felt very abrupt.
Because I noticed that sorry, what?
It was a good moment. I just thought it was very abrupt and kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, but I mean, Josh has been through a lot now. That from this, it's wow, he's a very strong person.
Yeah. Very much so.
Jam Jam talks about how Josh wants to get rid of Carolyn, but doesn't know if he can trust him with a fake idol, so he wants to get on the same page with her. They talk and she assures him she doesn't have anything and that she doesn't want to go with the alliance that was presented to her, but can sense he doesn't trust her at all. She lets him know she will not trust someone with a very obvious fake idol, but he tells her that he thinks she has it and she denies it, and she is hoping to build back the trust with him and just hope he is with her. He also is unsure if he really does trust her or not.
So everyone's just conflicted on this tribe except for Carolyn. Like, nobody seems to know where anyone is.
I know, it's so funny. It's so good.
Yeah, it's a very interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when it's a 3-person tribe.
Oh, yeah. It's a mess. Jam Jams asks Josh if there's anything left to talk about, and he says at this point he needs to just trust them both and hopes whatever he does doesn't bite him in the ass.
Yeah, so at this point, we're gearing up for tribal. We think, and the way they present it, this is another reason why I didn't like the way they edited what they did with Matthew, because they kind of make it seem like they're going to head to tribal, only for Jeff to then pull up on a boat and ask what was being discussed in terms of heartbreak. And then Josh brings up how anxious he is. And then he lets them know that due to Matthew having to be medevaced and deciding to take care of him long-term, they have been spared from tribal tonight. And I really just did not like the way that this was done. It very much felt like, yeah, Matthew's gone, but hey, these 3 people don't have to go to tribal. So, it's great. It's like, we probably should put the focus on Matthew just as much, because this was a very serious situation. He needs to take care of himself. It just, I don't know, the way they did it just felt very abrupt, and it just felt like they didn't give Matthew the proper closure that he needed,
Oh, I agree, because I just feel really bad for Matthew in that sense too.
Yeah, so they're all really sad to see Matthew go, but they're relieved that they will not have to vote each other out tonight. He tells them to keep an eye out for what will be happening, which basically hints that we're getting merge next week, which is crazy that we're already at the merge. But they hug it out, and Josh asks why Carolyn thinks it's a bad thing, and she jokingly says that she wanted to vote him out, which they laugh about, but I don't think that was a joke. I think she was being serious about that.
Oh, yeah.
Carolyn says that she thought she'd be more excited not going to tribal, but it's actually the opposite, because she really did want to get Josh out. So she's frustrated and pissed off and wants absolutely nothing to do with him. And yeah, that's basically where we do end things here. We do get a quick moment with Matthew where he says that he came out here for the journey, and in a lot of ways he achieved a lot of goals. Even though his journey was a little bit short, he feels like he's leaving the game a much stronger person. He knows he has the skills to get whatever he wants to go. His only regret is climbing that rock. I don't know why they put this at the end of the episode. Again, it just felt kind of disrespectful to me. I feel like this should have been in the episode.
Yeah.
When he makes that choice, they could have shown this moment.
And when he was saying goodbye to his tribe and all that.
It felt like it was there because every episode they have the person that got voted out do a little explanation of how they're feeling. I always say it's a retrospective.
I mean, I like when they do that though.
Oh, I do too. But for someone who had to leave the game and wasn't voted out, I don't think it should be shown in this manner.
Yeah, it should have just been they really just should have shown that when he was choosing to leave.
Yeah, it just felt a little disrespectful to me. But that is the note we end this episode on. So yeah, heading into the merge next week, I will say, from the Survivor seasons we covered, I don't think I've ever been more excited for a cast to merge than I have for this one, because there are so many fun dynamics going on.
Good.
You have Tika, where it seems like nobody really trusts each other at this point. Jam and Carolyn maybe, but it's really hard to tell.
They trust each other to an extent.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell where I do think in terms of this particular group of people, I think they need each other more than don't need each other. So I think they are probably at least going to come together, but I can also see it like a Shannon Ricard of sorts where there's a point where they have to cut each other and they're just waiting to get to that moment. I can very well see that happening.
I will say, I hope we get more of Heidi, because she's not, we've barely seen her.
Yeah, we don't get much of Heidi.
And then Lauren, and then I feel bad for Lauren. We barely get much from her either.
Yeah, those two, I honestly don't know where to even predict right now, because I don't feel like they're getting the proper airtime. Heidi is exactly where say a Heather was in 41. That's kind of where I see Heidi right now. I'm hoping that this can be, what was the name of that girl in 42 that didn't have much and then really came alive in the Lindsay, that was her name.
Oh yeah, Lindsay.
Yeah, I'm hoping Heidi can be a Lindsay of sorts, where it's she doesn't have a lot going on pre-merge and then really comes alive in the merge. Because right now I don't even know how to talk about Heidi's game. We know that she's close with Kenny. We know that. She said that she like feels close to Danny. She has a good relationship with him, but
Danny's like in the best spot on that
is
card.
good with everybody. So I don't know.
Who do you think would go first out of Matt and Franny?
I think Matt absolutely goes first.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty obvious that that's what's going to happen there.
I feel like Matt goes unless Matt gets everyone to turn against Franny, because he did say that she's a blind spot.
Matt just seems like someone that's like too nice. Like that's really like the way they've shown him. He seems like he's more here to just like be like this nice guy, bond with his tribe. We haven't seen a lot of strategy from him. And especially with what we got with Franny, it really seems like Franny's the one that's more willing to turn on him than him willing to turn on her.
Yeah. Where do you see them going?
I mean, Franny, I think, is making it pretty far. I just don't know about Matt right now.
I feel like Franny's going to get like a 6th place.
Yeah, I could see that. I could very well see that. People that I think are going in the merge, I do agree with Devin. I think Brandon is a very good candidate, just because we haven't seen much with him since episode 2. Like, this was the first episode where we got like a sizable amount of content for Brandon, whereas since episode 2, like he really hasn't been in the show that much. So I just kind of feel like he's not going to go super far. And also like, who does he have? Like, who is he bonding with on his tribe? It really doesn't feel like he has anyone.
I think he was with Matthew, but now he's gone.
Yeah, he was working really closely with Matthew. I assume he probably like has an in with Carson, because Carson's like working with everybody.
Kane, I guess. I mean, Kane voted him with Maddie.
Yeah, that we never saw any follow up with that either. We know that there's like tension between those two, but like we didn't see any follow up with like Kane and Brandon. I'm hoping we get to see more of that at the merge. The other thing I will say, I'm very happy about, it doesn't seem like there's any crazy twist happening at this merge. They are all just like kind of it's just like a very it's just like a very normal merge, which I'm excited for, because like though I've liked these twists, I do kind of want just a normal merge, because
like, I mean, we like just regular Survivor is still fun, like no twist.
I think especially with this cast, I think they deserve like just a really like crazy merge. I think we're definitely in for a good one. So yeah, I think Brandon is a very good candidate. I could very well see Josh going though as well, especially with
Jamie as well.
What?
And Jamie as well.
I don't know if she's the merge boot. I really don't. I think especially with what we got with Brandon and Danny, and especially them now wanting to include Josh. Yeah. All Carolyn has to do is talk to people, which I think they showed in the preview. She does give that information to people.
Also, I think in the preview, didn't like Josh say that Josh trying to plant seeds that Jam Jam's a snake?
Yeah, I think Jam Jam and Carolyn are going to go to work and try to pit everyone against Josh. And I think either it's going to work or we'll see.
Unless like a big thing happens where Josh gets like Jam Jam out.
That would be interesting.
I don't want him to go, but it would be a huge move though.
Let's not put that in the universe now.
Like I don't want him to go, but it'd be a huge move for sure.
Let's not make this a Gabler wins immunity. Inadvertent prediction. Let's not do that.
I mean, I will say none of these people are like Gabler.
No. I generally, like I said before, I generally do like this cast a lot. There isn't a single person, at least right now, that I can say I don't like watching this person. I don't like they're not fun to watch. Like everyone that we've gotten in this cast has legitimately been great. There are people I want more from, like a Kane, like a Heidi, like a Lauren.
Yes.
Even Brandon to an extent. Like I said, I don't think we've seen enough of like where he really stands on his tribe. Yeah. But what we've gotten, I think, has been pretty great. So I'm very excited to see where this merge is going to take everyone. I think Carson's in a very interesting spot too. I don't know if he's going to link back up with Jam Jam and Carolyn, or if he's going to stick with the people on his tribe.
Yeah, we'll see.
Like I said, I think Jamie's in kind of a precarious spot right now where she wants to work very closely with the tribe that she's on. But what happens to those bonds from her previous tribe? Are they going to want us to work with her? I'm not really sure. Like there's a lot. I
definitely see like Carson and Jam Jam working together for sure.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and I do think he's probably going to try to link back up with Carolyn because they did have a good bond.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, in terms of that 3, the only person that was like suspicious of him is gone, and that was Sarah. So, I think that Carson probably is going to link back up with them, but we'll really see what ends up happening there.
We had a lot of robberies this season.
We really did. But like I said, with this cast, I think everyone was honestly would have been a robbery.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully a woman doesn't go. That's really what it comes down to.
No
I want
women
to see a
leave.
woman go again. I want to, because it's been kind of like, there's been a pattern, and I don't want to see that pattern continue. Women can go obviously, but not yet. Like I said, I
think the only guys that left were the medevacs.
Yeah, which is crazy. I think for right now, like I said, I think a Brandon or a Josh are probably the most likely hands. I could even see Kane potentially, because we haven't gotten a lot from him.
I don't think Kane.
But I don't think Kane's like a big threat either. The only way I could see Kane
especially with like Kane and Carson bonding, I don't think either of them would go.
The only scenario I could see with Kane is that like he really tries to like go hard for Brandon and it backfires, like Brandon wins immunity or something.
I don't know. I don't think Kane would go for Brandon.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. But either way, I think we are headed in for a very exciting merge moving forward. I'm not really sure how it's going to go, but I've been liking this season a lot. I just hope we end up getting a really good end game, and let's get a really great winner, because I think there's a lot of very interesting narratives heading into the merge here. But other than that, I think that's really all we need to say about this episode. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we move on and wrap this up here?
I'm just really excited for this week's episode, and like I said, stay tuned for our BB Can podcast tomorrow.
Hold on. Hold that thought. Where is it? It is right there. Okay. Yeah.
We're going to be covering the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's going to be a long video, probably. We have a lot to do.
An hour.
It's a very cracked bunch of episodes. And I very much wish that we would know more of what's going on, if you know what I mean.
It's such like, I will say it's a good season. I just wish we had feeds.
I don't know if I could say good, but yeah.
Because like there's like fights and drama.
Oh, there is, but there's the other thing that I don't know if I can say it's good because of it. But anyway,
if it happens.
Yeah. With that said,
we'll talk more about it later, which obviously.
Yeah. So with that said, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, let us know what you guys are thinking of this season so far. How do you think the merge is going to go? All that stuff. But that's it for this video.
If anyone wants to be like a guest or anything, just hit us up.
I'll probably make like a Google form at some point to like see who's interested. But either way, that's it for this video. And remember, couples who podcast together stay together. See you guys later. Have a good night.